if you ask any employer or any entrepreneur, any founder, any CEO, what is your greatest asset in your business? Everyone will tell you it's my people.
Yes.
Right? Most business owners are ambitious. They're setting up businesses for a reason, right? They want to at some point scale and grow. Why most small businesses remain small businesses is because they don't systematize things.
Great. Okay.
One is cultural diversity, the kind of mix that you have in terms of the people that you can lean on. UAE is also very exciting in terms of it's an amalgamation of cultures that you bring in.
And since you have also worked with the founders, a lot of founders closely, what's a one or a few common mistakes that you see them making in terms of the HR in a company? What are the common mistakes?
Something to reflect on. I think founders it's not a mistake. It's sometimes an like oversight or sometimes, something that a problem that it's a future problem. It's not a current problem, it's a future problem. So it's deferred or something. But I think when you are setting up a team, you need to look at that holistically. Like what do I need to help my team give the best outcome? And how do I make them bring the best to work? Giving them the right framework. Because you have to remember, as a founder, as an entrepreneur, an employee looks at you very differently to how you look at them.
Yes.
You look at them as I'm employing them to deliver a piece of work or so on. But they look at you as you're the one that's the employer. So you have obligations, there are expectations, and you need to deliver on that to move the business forward. So that recognition that you're an entrepreneur, you're a founder, but you're also an employer of people who have families, who have expectations, is that mindset has to come in. That's one thing. You're not selling a product. Your business is a people's business.
Yes.
That recognition needs to happen. And then how do I run a people business? Mm-hmm. You might be selling widgets, you might be selling technology, you might be selling services, but who's doing that?
Who's running the show?
Who's running the show? Exactly.
I see it like this, right? So these are not mistakes. These are, I guess, learnings that you have as a founder, as an entrepreneur. Mostly, when someone starts a business, they're usually an expert in something. Right? They're an expert in
whatever the service they're
whatever
starting with.
Service, right? Whether it's trading, whether it's production, whether it's whatever it is, they're an expert. What they're not an expert is building a team around it.
Yes.
Right? Recognizing that I'm not an expert in this, therefore I should go to an expert for help is one thing. Yes. Right? That's a whole mindset thing, an area for learning. Number two is, as an employer, there's simple compliance requirements in the UAE.
Yes, by the law, right?
By the UAE labor law. Yes. So at the minimum, you have to be compliant. If you're not compliant, or if you say like, I'll just do this in-house, even if one employee challenges something and brings you to court,
that's when the real game begins.
That you could be liable for up to 3 months of pay.
Yes.
Invest that in setting it up from the beginning. Right? It's just as simple as this. The other thing is, if you ask any employer or any entrepreneur, any founder, any CEO, what is your greatest asset in your business? Nobody will tell you it's this amazing IT system that we've recently bought, or it's this beautiful furniture that we have in our office, or if it's the state of the art, boardroom that we have. Everyone will tell you it's my people.
Yes.
Right? So if your greatest asset is your people, would it not then make sense to invest in your greatest asset?
True. If I am growing a team from scratch, what should I do first? Should I just randomly look at hiring, this position, or should I have a team structure in mind? Or, what's the whole process? Like, if I were to start a business from scratch, how should that team building process be like?
So if you were to start if you were to start a business from scratch, there's you have to, again, look at a holistic picture.
Yes.
Team building is one element of it, right? What I would start off with is how are you going to deliver service from point A to point B? From the time someone asks you to say, hey, Bill, now I'm interested in your marketing services, till the time that you start delivering the service. What does that look like?
Yes.
Map that out, right? That's a starting point. Can you do all the steps in between, or do you need support at each stage? That's just a very simple, basic
way of finding out for each service what's the kind of people you need.
Right? You know, whether you're making food, are you going to advertise that you're cooking, this food is available? Then you answer the calls. Are you going to prepare the food? Are you going to deliver the food? Yes. Are you going to ask for their feedback? That's 5 different things. Are you going to do all of that and then take the money and then manage the money? So even if you just take something as simple as that, there's like 4 or 5 different
departments involved now.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that's a very simplified approach to doing something. Of course, it evolves and it builds. And so what we do with them is we kind of walk them through this thought process.
Yes.
Because they come with an idea to say, oh, this is how it's all set up. And a lot of times, of course, they've done it as best as they possibly could, maybe from their previous experience.
Yes.
But if they want to continue to remain that size, that's fine. But most business owners are ambitious. They're setting up businesses for a reason, right? They want to, at some point, scale and grow.
Yes.
And so that's when we come in to give them that initial intelligence of creating a team around their business. Nice. Maybe they don't have to hire everyone on day one. They can hire in 3 months. They can hire in 6 months. They can hire next year. But they recognize that, look, at some point, I need to hire someone.
Setting that structure in place right from the beginning on like the whole vision of how the team should grow.
Exactly. There's a really, really amazing book called E-Myth. I don't know if you've ever read it. It's by Michael Gerber. And he talks about in the book why most small businesses remain small businesses is because they don't systematize things.
Right. Okay.
When you systematize, then you introduce this process and you introduce people, or you introduce a structure around it.
Yes, that's nice. That's nice. Now, when we come to the UAE landscape, right, the HR landscape, what are the common things that I should know as a business owner? Like there are different ways you can get fines, or there are different areas which might be blind spot to us. So what are the things that we need to be careful in the HR terms?
So UAE is a little unique compared to other locations. The population demographics are very different to start with, right? So you have your expat population and you have your national population. And the private sector is mostly expat and not so much national. But all in all, that brings a unique couple of things that are very unique. One is cultural diversity is unique. The kind of mix that you have in terms of the people that you can lean on. So UAE is also very exciting in terms of it's an amalgamation of cultures that you bring in. So and then UAE's culture comes out in there. The other thing is UAE labor law. The UAE labor law is a unified law across the country. It's also complemented by immigration. So when people come in, they often get confused between the two.
Yes.
The labor law and the immigration system. So it's good to have that understanding as, what impacts your business, how it impacts your business. These are like the bare bones in terms of what impacts your business. That's what's unique to UAE, because not everywhere you have to understand immigration and labor. So oftentimes you only have to understand the labor law. But there are
2 sectors that you need to be aware of.
Exactly. And also
there's like 2 elements to it, right?
Yes. And they have to kind of fit well to have, the proper structure. And then obviously the landscape of the UAE in terms of the kind of businesses that you have is very different as well. What I like about the UAE small business is it's often something that you only see the multinationals being invited or all of that, but there's a huge UAE small business community that is so thriving and growing. You should be part of it. I think that's a community that definitely needs to be given more attention, I think.
Yeah. And, to go back to your question, having legal documents in place, having a contract that is compliant with the UAE labor law. A lot of people think that if I have an immigration contract, that's done. You're a unique company. There's additional things that you need to think about. Again, you have to have a long-term view of these things. It's not for the now, it's for the future. Assuming you want to remain in business for the future. And anybody who starts a business wants to remain in business for the future. So something, things like that. Understanding your obligations as an employer. So we, for instance, we do contract templates. We do an offer letter and a contract template. And just when we do this, the consultation process ends up also being an education process to the
for the
founder, right? Because, something as simple as leave. UAE labor law says you must give X amount of days of leave.
Yes.
But maybe the business has a operation that needs to work, wants to comply with it, but wants to implement it in a way that they're compliant, but also they're serving their business.
Yes.
They might not be able to figure this out on their own.
That's how you come in, right? How to figure out the right way.
So we interpret it for them to say, for your business, regardless of your industry, how do we make sure that you are compliant at a minimum?
Yes.
The second thing is, a lot of founders think that when I hire someone, they're delighted to get a job, and then day one happens and come in and start working, right? You only get one chance to make a great first impression.
Yes.
You have to make that great first impression when your employee starts. That onboarding experience is not reserved for the corporates only. It's something that you can incorporate in your small business. Think about it as in, an analogy that I use is, imagine you go to a hotel, right? And they know that you've booked in for a particular day, and you arrive and you're like, here I am, excited to enjoy the next 2 days of my staycation. And the reception is like, oh, that's right, Bilna, you were supposed to come here. And okay, that's great. Let me get your room ready. And then they, go with you to your room, and you can see that the room has not been cleaned from there's things all over the place, and they're busy kind of organizing it and say like, oh, you can put your case here. How would that make you feel as a guest? Surely you're not going to really enjoy that experience, right? It's very similar for your employee. To know that the host, in this case is an employer, has taken time to prepare you, just gives you such a different experience. Right. And something as simple as that can just make a lasting impact.
True. That first day at work, right?
Yeah.
When they come to you, right? And there is always a thought process that, okay, it's for the corporates, we are a very small business.
Correct.
It's actually something which we all can implement, the systems and everything.
Exactly.
Right.
This is, when you talk about the onboarding, there's a lot of what we have done to help small businesses is we've offered a lot of free resources.
Yes.
On our website that they are free to download. And one of the things that we did was these onboarding checklists, because it always sounds like it's not for us, it's reserved for corporates or large organizations. But it makes a big difference because it adds to your ability to welcome this person, but also to retain this person.
Exactly.
And make sure that they feel that sense of belonging and that sense of connectedness from day one, because that is one of the reasons why people stay long with small business, because that they get that connection.
How do I find this freebie? Where do I find it so I can add it in the description for our listeners to also download the same?
Okay, it's on our website, www.snk.ae/resources. So if you go down there, you can fill up a form and go ahead and download.
Definitely. So we'll add the link to it in the show notes so that anybody listening, they can actually download it.
Yeah, they're more than welcome to.
There's actually a lot of resources you can download. There's sample remote working policy, creating job descriptions, and there's a guide on how to create it.
Nice, that's nice.
So there's quite a good list of
resources
that's
available
to use.
There. Yeah. Amazing. So we will be adding that in the show notes as well. Amazing. And since we mentioned about the resources, would you like to talk about HR in a box? What's that?
Oh, that's our favorite box to open.
Time to open
unbox the HR
Time
in a
to
box.
unbox it.
We spoke earlier about how we're so client-centric, right? And we work with small businesses.
Yes.
And so a lot of times, initially, I think in our initial days, one of our most popular asks was, I have a team of 5, 6, less than 10, and I plan to grow to, 15, 20, 50. And I don't have the basics in place. I don't have a contract. I don't have policies. I don't have a handbook. Can you create all of this for me? And the answer was yes, we can. And so these were all bespoke documents. And so every time we said, this is how much it would be and this is how much it would cost, we actually lost quite a few clients back then because they were like, I can't afford this. I'm a small business.
Yes.
And so we had to kind of take a step back ourselves to say, okay, if we're servicing a community and we know we're giving them value, but they still can't afford it, how can we make something for them that meets that requirement and addresses the price point as well?
Yes.
Right? That's how we created HR in a Box. So HR in a Box is your HR framework setup. It gives you your offer letter, contract template, all the policies and procedures that you would need, or an employee handbook, and every single combination, permutation of a form, a letter, or a HR template. So whether somebody wants to apply for a bank loan, somebody wants to travel, you want to promote someone, you don't know what questions to ask in an interview, you are onboarding a new employee and you don't know what information to collect from them, you are trying to figure out how to calculate payroll, everything is in this box.
Wow.
And we deliver this within 4 to 6 weeks. And we do this through 3 things. So we do initial consultations with you to understand your business. And obviously each business is unique. We also understand the nuances of your business. We also we do a design element. So the document is not just a word-heavy document. So we personalize and brand it for your brand. So it just makes the employee experience more positive. And then last but not the least, we do a training session. We do a management training session. So whoever's going to implement this on the ground, we empower them with all of the tools and all of the information of how best to use the contents of the box.
Nice.
For the foreseeable future of the business. So it's
amazing.
a one-time investment, but it covers you for literally the foreseeable future. We've had clients that have bought the box to customize their ERP systems. Because when you get an ERP system, you have to, go through line by line to say, like, what do I do about this? What's the leave? What's the process? So when they do this, they literally give it to their tech to say, here, now customize our system.
Oh, nice. That's nice.
And the HR in a Box is built on 2 things. One is it's going to be a very compliant HR framework. So you would be, from the get-go, the framework will ensure you're compliant as per UAE labor law or free zone or any of them. Second, it's also built on HR best practice. So it's not just the bare bones of the law, but we want, like we said, we want to shape the HR landscape. We want to build great workplaces.
Yeah.
So we have added HR best practice into that. So you don't have to pay a lot to get great HR, framework into your organization. So these are the 2 strengths of HR in a Box in terms of what we do. And the consultation process is where we see the ease of
the relief.
The relief starts coming in even before the documents are
coming
shared.
in place.
So yeah, as we go through the consultation, as we navigate them and guide them through that process, it's the best journey I have experienced. I love those consultations.
That's nice.
It's nice to see that the businesses that we work with, the clients that we work with, are so proud of getting these contents, off the box. They're like, wow, this looks so nice and this is so clear. I understood when you explained, but now having gone through the process, I can't imagine, like, this is what it is. And this
the whole structure you need for your HR.
Exactly.
The whole company, right? All the forms, everything is
everything
included.
is there.
That's
and so,
amazing.
that feedback that we get from them just makes it so worth it.
It's like it's like a Disneyland sort of journey in HR. Think about it. You're on this little, seat, and you're locked in, and you start your journey. And you start entering and you get a little intro like, welcome to this and all of that stuff. And you're like, okay, what's this, going to be all about?
It's a ride.
It's a ride. It's HR, And as they go and they're like, wow. And you come out on the other side and you're like blown away. Your hair is, it's literally that. That's the kind of feeling that the clients have shared with us.
And
nice.
Look, every employee deserves a great place to work, right?
True.
And every employer deserves to get the help to be able to create that, because this is not a skill set that it comes to everyone naturally.
Yes, you need to hire a professional to
Exactly.
understand what is required. Sometimes we, as a business owner, we don't even know what we need.
Exactly. A lot of times you don't know what you don't know.
Yes.
And between us, we have over 40 years of experience. So that's
those blind spots.
Exactly.
Right?
And so we really want to empower the right clients to empower their people and make their place a great place to work.
And since you are very passionate about people, what my team always tells us is that we enjoy the meetings with both of you. Like whenever we have a review meeting with you, they say, that's why we say that you are the most bubbliest clients. So now, as employers yourself, how do you deal with your people? How, is that the way? Are you always like that? Are you always very bubbly? And is that the way you do it? How it is?
The answer is yes.
This old saying, right?
Yes.
Treat people like how you want to be treated.
True.
And this is what we employ in our team, with our clients, but also with people working with us, because we know we're their clients.
Yes.
We're HR and we're entrepreneurs, and we also know that we are also employers. Even the approach we have as employers is different to the one we have as HR. We do benefit from the fact that we come from an HR background, but as an employer, it's a different conversation. And being in the business that we have, all our team members are very well experienced, and they have each of them come with more than 15-20 years of experience themselves, and they're accomplished individuals themselves. So I always feel like we're working with peers. So it's always, a lot of them actually, what's in my mind, they're articulating to the client. So it's a different conversation that we have.
You always have that fun moments.
So we can be lighthearted. We can, and it's about delivering work. It's not about anything else, and it's a conversational way of kind of dealing with people. And we love working with your team as well, Desma. We enjoy.
They love working with you guys the most, I think,
because we see how much they have our best interest at heart, and we see the initiative and the creativity that they bring to every meeting. And it's not something that we're just reviewing something that's done, but it's a brainstorming
session with you.
And
we
that's
love
what
the
I
inputs
like.
We always get from you, because not every clients really understand what they need, but when we get clients who know exactly what they need, it's much easier for us to work with you also.
I'd say, our relationship with our team or our clients or anyone we deal with, it's not instructional, it's collaborative.
That's the best approach, I feel.
And this is what makes the difference, right? Because we're not telling them what to do, we're working with them to do something that's the best. For them also, like as a agency, you want to deliver good work.
Yes, because for us, the client results is what actually drives us, right? And now there is one question which my team has told me to ask you after looking through your website. What is living laboratory? What is that living laboratory process?
Living laboratory is a term that we thought we were so clever when we came up with it. So a living laboratory is, we've obviously had, between the two of us, I was saying, over 40 years of experience. And we've worked with companies that have either started a new project or, started a new company. And so we have been in the thick of things as these massive companies started to emerge. And so we've not been in positions where we were only said, this is your job description and this is what you do. We were thrown in the middle of like, can you do a bit of this? And can you do a bit of that? Can you do a bit of that? So, like if you think of a laboratory, you try these different things and then you come up with a result, right? And so we've been in that position where we've tried all of these different things. We've experienced all of these different ways of handling situations, people, businesses, and now we have an outcome. And that continues to evolve with every new client we work with, every new business that we work with, that continues to evolve.
That is a learning experience for all
exactly.
of us.
Yes. And to add to Desma's, HR is a very living thing. It's not a policy that's on the shelf. It's a very living document.
It has to change with the landscape.
It has to be dynamic. It has to respond
changes.
to the business. And it has to be,
as the business grows.
As the business grows. So it's a very living document that gets applied in very different scenarios.
True.
And we have, used all our experience to kind of tell clients that even 3 years, 5 years down the line, when you will come encounter a situation, this policy has
to make sense.
Has to make sense, has to give you the answers and the guidance you're looking for. So that's, the
long term of running your business.
Yeah.
Now, before I move on to the final question, every industry is now hit by AI. What is your take on it? Has HR also started implementing AI in any forms, or how is that?
Yeah, I think this is kind of like the chatter of the hour, right?
Yes.
Everybody's talking about AI. People are talking about AI is going to replace people. I think very early stages. It has been in development for years now,
Yes.
but it's hit mainstream, I think, fairly recently.
Yes.
And so everyone's, I think, in a global living laboratory process.
We're all dabbing into AI and trying to not let Hollywood or any movies influence our thinking.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
what is that?
Yeah. So, in our world, right? People's problems or challenges with people are unique because they're people.
Yes.
And everyone's different. And you can standardize to an extent, but ultimately, humans work with humans.
Yes.
You can streamline processes with AI, maybe.
Maybe it could be used as a tool for improving the processes.
Exactly.
Yes.
For instance, if I go back to what I initially said about employer branding and the tool for attraction, right? Your employer brand, you can use AI to generate what the employer brand could be.
Yes.
But you still have to represent your
Yes,
employer brand.
yes.
You can't get AI, you're not authentic unless
Yes.
that's your brand. Then that's fine.
Yes, yes.
So there is a human element involved in everything. So I think once we get out of this laboratory phase, we'll find our footing in terms of, where that lands us, and it'll continue to evolve.
Yeah, I think AI is going to impact us as much as email has impacted us, and a lot of people thought, oh my God, if email comes, then, lots of things will not happen.
But it actually just made things easier for us.
Or even more recently, all the virtual meetings, travel is going to come
Yes.
to a standstill. Has it really come to a standstill?
Exactly.
If you see the recent news, the traffic is huge,
But still, people are meeting each other.
because we are humans. We need
Yes.
that connection. We need that.
Crave for that people connection.
Yeah, people need so it's not something that's going to it is going to influence our life. It is going to influence the way we work, but I don't think it's going to replace us. And I think it's good that you recognize how you can harness AI for your life, for your business, and how you can bring it in.
Bring a positive impact.
Every new
using
technology has something to add to it, and being resistant or fearful of it is not going to help the business going forward. So think about it that way. It's like another email, another virtual meeting. It's not going to suddenly take over, but it is going to help, definitely.
It's interesting that you said that. Just today I was talking to our office manager and I'm like, thank God for these virtual meetings. Otherwise, I can't imagine how much I would be driving around Dubai, going from meeting to meeting to meeting. And when we started our business, because we started in 2020,
the COVID time,
virtual meetings was the norm.
Yes.
And as a business just starting up, that actually worked in our favor.
That's nice.
So
That's nice.
these things are they come in to enhance your life. Find how it can enhance your life.
It's all about how you use it for the right way, right? And now coming to the last final question for today, what is your one piece of advice especially to a smaller business, SMEs, in terms of HR when they are starting their business?
Invest in it.
Perfect.
So it's not about investing in HR, invest in your business.
Yes.
Invest in your greatest asset, which is your people.
Great.
Invest in creating a business that can stand the test of time in the long term.
Amazing. Or do you have something to add to it?
I think I go back to what I said earlier, recognize that the mindset has to be that you are an employer of people and that you have obligations, and you need to, recognize that that's part and parcel of being an entrepreneur. I I think if you invest in your people and you recognize these two things will take it, a long way forward.
They'll run the show for you.
Exactly.
Amazing. Thank you so much for this amazing session, and thanks to all of our listeners for today. Do not forget to subscribe, and also we are leaving the links to all their S&K and the freebies which they mentioned as well. Please do download them, and it's definitely going to help your business. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bilna. This was such a great session.
Thank you.
I think we could have chatted for another hour if we could. But thank you so much.
Thank you
so awesome experience.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bilna.